Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into DUUUVAL Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLuga. Thanks so much for being here Wednesday, October 8th, late night edition of the show, just after 10:15 p.m. Eastern time here. I am exhausted, but we have breaking news. The marathon continues. The Jaguars are making another trade. They are trading cornerback Tyson Campbell to the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, this is a blockbuster of a trade. We're going to break it down. As I mentioned, I am exhausted. Had a pop-up event earlier today, had press conferences, had lots of work to do. It's been a marathon, since Monday, obviously, but I had to get on here and chat with y'all. So really appreciate you being here. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the stuff. Let me know what you think, and we'll break down this trade here. My thoughts on it. Don't really have a script or a plan for this one. Just going to be chatting with y'all. So again, really appreciate you being here. So the Jaguars are receiving cornerback Greg Newsome and the Jets 2026 sixth round pick from the Browns. Mind you, this is the second big trade the Jaguars have done with the Browns this year. The Browns are getting cornerback Tyson Campbell and Eagles 2026 seventh round pick from the Jaguars. So when you look at this trade, the Jaguars, based on their compensation and what they are giving up, player for player, Greg Newsome for Tyson Campbell, the Jaguars feel that Greg Newsome and his skill set is more valuable than Tyson Campbell's skill set, in my opinion. Now, they also get a sixth round pick in exchange for a seventh round pick, right? But overall, the major calculus on this is Greg Newsome's contract and his ability. The Jaguars like more than cornerback Tyson Campbell's contract and his ability. What are the contract details for Greg Newsome? I'm asking this right now, and I'm going to answer this right now. Greg Newsome, talking about him as a player, I have long really appreciated his game. A corner out of Northwestern who kind of got a lot of press and excitement around him late in the process throughout the draft a few years back. And to me, he's battled some injuries, right? But he is a very, very good player. 25 years old, about the same age as Tyson Campbell. I think he came in the same year as Tyson Campbell, actually. I had him higher ranked in my draft rankings than I did Tyson Campbell, for sure. I really liked his game, and this is an interesting one. So he is still on his rookie deal. The Browns picked up his fifth-year option for this year, I believe. 2025 is his fifth-year option deal. And sorry, this isn't perfect podcasting. This isn't a perfect show. We're doing this live, okay? We're doing this as we're getting the information and processing everything all at once. Making sure that the fifth-year option that I'm talking about is accurate. Yeah. On April 3rd, 2024, the Cleveland Browns exercised Greg Newsome's fifth-year option. So what does this do? I believe this gives the Jaguars a cornerback who they are more confident in right now for 2025, for the remainder of this season, and a cornerback who they can then decide what they want to do about his contract following the year. They can decide, do they want to try to re-sign him? They can decide, do they want to try to go in a different direction at the cornerback position outside of the guys they really like that they have, including Travis Hunter. I believe Buster Brown is set to be a free agent, so that's another decision. But you obviously have Jordan Lewis at nickel. Travis Hunter going to be a fixture, right? Jarian Jones still in the mix as well. I can confirm about Buster Brown's contract right now, but I believe he is also set to be a free agent. Let's focus on the now. The Jaguars now have a new top outside corner. His name is Greg Newsome. And somehow PFF already has that he's a Jacksonville Jaguars player. This is a guy that, again, not been perfect throughout his career, but to me is probably a better fit overall because I think he has better ball skills. I think he's more fluid, a mover. He's not as big, but he's not a small guy either. 6'1", $195. We can go to his spider chart as well from the draft. I mean, he's a hell of an athlete. I loved his college tape. I've loved a lot of the things I've seen him do in Cleveland as a Cleveland Brown. He's been a big part of why they've been so good. I'm honestly shocked that the Cleveland Browns wanted to make this trade. Not because I don't believe in what Tyson Campbell can be and what Tyson Campbell has shown he can be at times, but because I think you just have a much more complete player in Greg Newsome. Now, are they doing some roster calculus and saying, if we believe Tyson Campbell can be a CB2, which is what he is for the Browns now, because they obviously have Denzel Ward, do we think maybe we're getting a deal on what he can be? Because, again, he's $20 million per year. You look at the top corners now, they're getting 30 plus. So when he signed that deal, that was kind of an advantageous moment to sign a cornerback to a big contract. Has he lived up to that contract? By no means. And I've been a Tyson Campbell defender to an extent. And this is not going to be like, oh, Jordan's flipping the script on Tyson Campbell because the Jaguars traded him. That's not what this is going to be. Tyson Campbell is a great run defender. He is a physical football player. He has had ups and downs in coverage down the field. And outside of 2022, a season in which he was incredible, there's been a lot more downs than ups in his coverage down the field. That's the facts of the matter. And I've been critical of Tyson. I've talked about it this year. Tyson Campbell has had a lot of good moments. I mean, love Hacker. He was talking about this with Gus earlier, the Houston game. Talked about, well, the Jaguars don't win that game if he doesn't get that ball out, right? Well, they're not in the position to lose the game if he doesn't get beat on a 51-yard touchdown by Nico Collins because he bit on a double move, right? So it goes both ways. He obviously cannot keep up with the best receivers in football, in my opinion. And I think the Jaguars, again, my opinion is the Jaguars probably think Greg Newsome is a better player in their system right now in terms of covering opposing receivers. And I believe the Jaguars did not want to pay Tyson Campbell the duration of his contract. They did not want to be tied to that expensive contract for a player that they probably didn't feel could live up to it. Now, you look at Greg Newsome's stats against Tyson Campbell's stats this year, if you want to go down that rabbit hole, which I don't think is always the right way to analyze things, but we can do that too, right? Tyson Campbell's stats from a reception percentage standpoint are better. He's allowed a 51.4 completion percentage, 37 targets, 19 completions, right? Greg Newsome has allowed a 65% completion percentage. And he's been aligned almost exclusively at outside corner this year. He does have a lot of experience in the slot. Prior to this year, he played almost as much slot corner as he did outside corner. So there's some versatility there, which is obviously always a good thing. but he's allowed 65% completions, 15 catches on 23 targets. But here is the kicker. He's allowed 15 catches, right, on 23 targets. Tyson Campbell's allowed 19 on 37 targets. On those 19 targets, Tyson Campbell has allowed 312 yards receiving. Greg Newsome on those, and I said targets, on those 19 receptions, 312 yards receiving. On Greg Newsome's 15 receptions allowed, he has allowed 195 yards receiving. He's allowing 13 yards per catch. Tyson Campbell is allowing 16.5. Tyson Campbell has given up in 4 straight weeks a completion of over 30 yards. 42 yards against T. Higgins, 2 touchdowns in that game he allowed. 50 yards against the Houston Texans, 31 yards, and 50 yards was the Nico Collins touchdown I referred to. 31 yards against Ricky Pearsall, 34 yards against Tyquan Thornton. And I also love Hack, and I'm not criticizing him. I just, this is fresh on my mind because he was talking about it today. Talked about how, Tyquan Thornton had to come back to that football against the Jags on Monday Night Football. If that throw was on the money, and it wasn't on the money because Patrick Mahomes was getting rocked. If that throw was on the money, it looks even worse on Tyson Campbell because it's a touchdown. Tyson Campbell got burnt on that play. He did. And so, I think Tyson Campbell's a pretty good player. He's obviously dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. Greg Newsome's dealt with some injuries too. I think this is a player-for-player swap that the Jaguars probably feel like they're getting a little bit of a better player right now. I've always thought Greg Newsome was a little bit better than Tyson Campbell just from a talent perspective. I think the biggest thing for the Jaguars right now is the way they feel about the contract. Greg Newsome, his contract expires after the 2025 season. Tyson Campbell's contract is a big one. We can pull it up right now. The Jaguars signed him to this contract before the 2024 campaign. And it's a 4-year deal that began in 2024. And the cap situation wasn't pretty on it, right? Dead money in 2025, $39 million. It remains to be seen exactly how that will play out, but it doesn't matter because they didn't do this to clear cap space for now. They did to clear cap space for the future and give themselves more flexibility for the future. 2026 cap hit, dead money, I should say. 2026 dead money, $32 million. 2027 dead money, 13.8. And then you could have $10 million in cap savings. Obviously, you do post June 1. These numbers change a little bit getting into 2027. So the Browns cannot save money on Tyson Campbell's contract until 2027. Again, we mentioned what it would be pre-June 1 cut, post-June 1 if they decided to move on from Tyson Campbell. They would have a $5.68 million dead cap hit and an $18.3 million cap savings. So that is effectively when the Cleveland Browns could move on from Tyson Campbell. Whereas the Jaguars now have given themselves flexibility to make moves at the position beyond 2025. And in my opinion, they probably got a player they feel a little bit more comfortable with, or just as comfortable with as Tyson and Greg Newsome. I don't know how to feel about this one exactly for the Browns. I don't want to overanalyze that side. But I feel confident in saying that the Jaguars did this to give themselves a player they like in Greg Newsome and cap flexibility at the position moving forward. They believe in Travis Hunter. They believe in Buster Brown. They believe in Jordan Lewis. I think they like Jarian. I think that They also will potentially add more to the mix next year. Maybe you keep Buster. Maybe you keep Greg. Maybe you keep both. But now they don't have to be tied to that and beholden to that Tyson Campbell contract that has not aged very well. Unfortunately, it has not aged very well, and they're no longer beholden to that. Now, Tyson Campbell, hard worker, good football player, tough football player, speed, length, physicality, good run defender. Usually very good, but when he gets beat badly. Again, you allow 51% reception percentage. That's great. But 312 yards on 19 receptions allowed is atrocious. Again, 42 yards to T. Higgins. 50-yard touchdown, Nico Collins. Not even close on either of those routes. San Francisco against Ricky Pearsall, he was in decent position, but he had no clue where the ball was. Same thing against Chiefs, Tyquan Thornton. I don't think they feel comfortable with him out there on an island, right? His passer rating allowed right now is 107 this year. He's also drawn multiple penalties. Greg Newsome's passer rating allowed is 91.8. Also drawn 2 penalties. The bottom line is I think Greg Newsome's a more natural player. Tyson Campbell might have more impressive physical gifts when you combine the length and the strength and the speed, but Greg Newsome, I think, is a more natural cornerback. I really do. I've always thought that. I loved him in the draft. I'm excited he's in Jacksonville, but I'm also trying to be very objective and provide insight onto what I believe the Jaguars are thinking here. So he measured 6 foot, 192 pre-draft. Wingspan of 73 3/4, which is not bulky length. He ain't bulky built. Arm length is actually 31 1/8, which is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad at all. 10-yard split, 1.5 seconds. 40-yard dash, 4.39 seconds. Vertical jump, 40 inches. Broad jump, 123. 3-cone drill, 6.9. That's 60th percentile. He did have 18 bench press reps. Pretty good. This is a guy that I think has, we're losing focus here on the camera. I think he has more upside. I think he can be a better player than Tyson Campbell. But I think it ultimately comes down to giving yourself a player that you think can be as good as Campbell while also giving yourself the flexibility to figure it out in the meantime. And they can now do that. They are not beholden to that massive couple of dead money hits to the cap that Tyson Campbell is about to have in 2026 and 2027. And with that, we'll pretty much go ahead and wrap it up. I'll make sure there's nothing else to report here on this situation. But again, Jaguars getting a 6-rounder. And hey, here's something to report. Greg Newsome II has already tweeted out, DUUUUVAL. Love to see that. Yeah. Jaguars sending that 7th-rounder. Browns sending a 6th-rounder. I like that too. I think it's a good trade for the Jags, which of course, good old James Gladstone. It's pretty much all he does is hit. That's wild. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Y'all have a good night.